Well, I was a board certified OBGYN, and I practiced OBGYN for many, many years, and I had a very successful practice. I served probably 20,000 patients over the 14 years that I did it.
Right.
And so from the outside, I looked really successful and like
Yep.
I had the life, but on the inside, I was really dying. I was overweight. I weighed 243 pounds. I had chronic fatigue. I slept all the time. I had pain in my body, fibromyalgia, depression, anxiety. I was losing my hair and had no sex drive. And I would have these breakdowns every month, pretty much, where I would just say, when do I get a break? When do I get a freaking break? And then one day I got a break. I had the chance to go horseback riding, and I was riding the horse. The horse threw me off, and my foot hit the ground first, and I knew in that instant that my foot was broken, and I knew that it was broken because I had asked for it. I had asked for a break. Well, I got a break, a literal break in my foot and a figurative break, a break from responsibility. And so that really started my transformation, because before that, Mike, I thought that everything happened by my hand. I did everything. But I all of a sudden realized, no, there's an energy, a force, a power out there greater than me that makes things happen. And I spoke this into whatever that was. I wasn't really sure. So I started doing the research and trying to figure out, you know, really, how does the universe work? What is this force? And if I can ask for something I don't want and get it, well, then I can ask for something I do want and get it. And so I really did the research and started doing spiritual practices, praying, meditating, gratitude, forgiveness. And before long, my transformation just started occurring. I started losing weight, picking up tools, and my entire life transformed. I had this thing called a spiritual body that I never knew about, that actually has an energetic structure, and that it actually was the energetic framework on which my physical body sits.
Right.
And that's amazing to me, because this was never mentioned to me in medical school or residency.
Yeah.
So learning about this, what is it? Well, then what kind of care does it need? You know, your body needs food and water, exercise, rest. What kind of care does your spiritual body need? Because ultimately, your spiritual body is the framework on which your physical body sits. So if it's not healthy, you're not going to be healthy. And that's like having a building with a bad framework or foundation. It doesn't matter how you put the walls or the plaster. It's been said that you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness with which it was created.
Right.
And we create overweight by really having a body that we feed too much, and we don't exercise enough, and we have toxicity, and we have nutritional deficiencies, and all of these physical problems. And then we want to lose weight, and we want to use that same consciousness. We want to just exercise like crazy, or we want to starve ourselves, and it doesn't work.
Right.
So we've got to change our consciousness to understand that that body exists and that we need to nourish it. And then if we change the framework, the body responds in kind.
This is Julie from NorCal saying, I'm loving what Dr. Dunstan is saying. Makes so much sense to take care of your spiritual self too. And again, we kind of left Karen for one of the last presentations on purpose today, because again, we need to put a wrapper around all this. We've been taking care of the science and the medicine, and now we're combining the science, the medicine, and the spiritual as well, because all these things have to work together.
The top takeaway is, if you don't address your spiritual body, spiritual self, you're not going to lose the weight and get where you want.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. You've got to address it. Yes,
Sometimes?
subconsciously, because really your subconscious runs the show.
Wow.
And I even had a patient, I've had several patients with this, but we got down to the kernel of what was underlying this, and she had problems with being intimate with her husband. She didn't want to be. So as long as she had an excess layer of fat, he didn't really find her attractive. That was her excuse. I don't want you to see me. I don't want you to touch me. And so that was her excuse. And so when we could get to that and she could say, wow, my marriage is really not great. If I don't want intimacy with my husband, maybe I need to look at that.
Wow.
Which is one of the benefits of meditation,
Okay.
but it has so many other benefits. And then we've got the visualization in there. So you get to really see and feel, what's it going to be like when I get to the size I want to be? Like for me, you see everywhere on my book, I have this white Marilyn Monroe bikini.
Yeah.
That was,
why did you do that?
That was my visualization.
Okay.
That was my goal. I made a vision board, and that's an exercise I have people do.
Nice.
Make a vision board, get pictures. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What are people saying about you? What are you saying? And really get into that. And so we incorporate that into the meditation.
Great. So your goal is to get someone. Thank you very much, and let's
Thank
give
you.
her a virtual hand clap in the chat for sharing her heart, because she really did make herself very transparent. That's something that came up over and over again in the chat. So they love you in there.
And I love you all too.
All right. Thank you. I know you're going to be back in the chat.